when a sweat gland first receives the signal, the fluid surrounding the cells in its coiled base contain high amounts of sodium and chloride. The cells pump these ions into a hollow tube that runs through the sweat gland. Then, because it's saltier inside the tube than outside, water moves into the tube by osmosis. As what's called the primary secretion builds up in the bottom of the tube, water pressure pushes it up into the long, straight part of the duct before it seeps onto the skin. Cells lining the tube will reclaim as much salt as possible, so the process can continue. The water in sweat absorbs your body's heat energy and then evaporates off of you when it reaches the surface, which in turn lowers your temperature. This process, known as evaporative cooling, was an important adaptation for our ancestors. This cooling effect isn't only helpful during exercise. We sweat in many other scenarios too. Eating particularly spicy food makes some people sweat profusely from their faces. That happens because spices trigger the same neural response in the brain that activates temperature receptors, which usually respond to increased heat. Sweating is also part of the fight or flight response, stimulated by stressful scenarios, like asking someone on a date or interviewing for a job. This happens because adrenaline stimulates muscle activity and causes blood vessels to widen. Two responses that increase heat and trigger the sweating response. And sweating also occurs when we get sick. When we are feverish, we sweat because infections stimulate the hypothalamus to increase muscle activity, which in turn releases more energy as heat. That increases your overall temperature, a protective mechanism that makes your body less habitable for infectious agents. Like when running, sweating helps your body vent that heat. When the fever is over, or you have won your race, your temperature receptors sense the decrease in heat, and the hypothalamus brings your sweating response to an end. In some cases, like after a run, the hypothalamus also signals to your body that you need to replenish the water that you have oozed out. So, when you are pushing yourself to reach that next goal, you can think of sweat as your body's very own calibrator, enabling you to go that extra mile. Okay, well, good job. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for listening to the video today. I hope you learned something. I hope it was useful. And take care. See you next time. Goodbye.